This is Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess, a tower defense game. Oh, you think I'm lying because it doesn't look like this? Well, in this game you utilize villagers that you're saving from the Thief corruption as towers, and so the hero that comes with combos, ultimate abilities, and vibes. In order to get this platinum trophy, I'll have to complete the game, I'll have to do it again on New Game Plus modes, rebuild every village, consume tens of thousands of crystals, purge the animals, and then finally defeat the secret boss. I hope you enjoy this journey. Let's go! Woo. The game opens up to Yoshiro performing a contemporary dance. We then get control of Soh and learn how to move. With no health bar and no HUD at all, it's safe to assume that this is a tutorial level. At least, I hope so. The story is then explained that we will be going down the mountain to reclaim the 11 masks that were taken from the Thief, which will then start the ceremony of purification to reclaim the summit. We have our story. Tutorial. Myoko Pass introduced me to the real gameplay of the game. We start the level on a day cycle, which gives us time to run around the map, purify the corrupted areas, and then find villagers that are caught within the plague itself. When we purify areas, we get crystals to use on assigning the villagers different combat roles, such as a woodcutter, which is totally a combat role. With them having an assigned role, I can place them on the pathway to fight off any minions that walk past, because it's a tower defense game. Once we have done everything we can, or we're just ready for the combat, I can fast forward to the night cycle, which is when the Thief start to attack. This is going to play out until the daytime happens, where I can go back and create a pathway for the princess, or Yoshiro, to guide her to the Torii Gate to finally purify. Do you know what she reminds me of? Okay. In between levels, we set up a new base camp on the level we just completed. There is a tent set up for the goddess to rest, but it also gives us a few gameplay functions such as unlocking special abilities, and then also upgrading our villager roles. But walking into the tent for the first time got me the come on in trophy. Enter the tent for the first time. The third level for the game is the boss fight Gakinyudo. Gakinyudo. And I walked into this so very confident. Wait, did I not assign them roles? Maybe a little too confident. With a quick reload, I was ready. And for the most part, my game plan was to tank and spank. Good job, guys. Nice. Gakinyudo? My next proper level consists of 2 Torii Gates this time that have to be purified. We also get introduced to 2 new Thief. One of them's a weird, fast, armless ghoul that can shoot range attacks, and then a slow-moving, flying bat thing. Nothing really else to note here other than I'm cracked at tower defense. I mean, look at this strategy. My next boss fight I figured was going to be some sort of flying monster, since I just unlocked the archer and then also got introduced to the flying Thief monsters. I was close, but not close enough. Okay. Woo. That's me playing the flute. Kamaitachi! The third stage has us going into Yuan Cavern, which is described as a dark cave. We have a new mechanic to deal with in a cave, which obviously is the dark. Lighting the lantern helps provide light to the villagers to deal with the demons themselves, until I saw the bonus objectives. Shake my head, shake my head. Purify, Yuan, Cavern. My next boss was Mukadejoro, which I'm sure I butchered, but I felt very confident going into this fight until realizing the whole light mechanic that we just learned was going to be a big do this mechanic. So the entire fight, I was just worried about the bonus objectives that I just learned about, which I'm sure is a trophy. If the objective was that Yoshiro can't lose more than 50% health, then I'm in trouble. Holy, I killed it, but it was tough. Defeat Mukadejoro. Another level, another mechanic. This time Yoshiro has been possessed, which means I can't do anything. I can't even use the main character during the night cycle. So the fight itself is literally just a cutscene. I just watch my archers go to town on the thief coming through, and then deposit the crystal to Yoshiro to finally save her. Yes! That was very easy. Purify Enri village. It's very easy. Stage 5 introduced us to dual pathways. It was only a matter of time, damn it. And a new thief, which is basically like an exploder bomber type of guy. I don't know. It's basically just a ticking time bomb that you just have to nuke as soon as possible. There are 2 phases to this stage, and I'm not sure if I picked the right passage, but I didn't die. So a win is a win. Oh, that's a pretty one. Okay, Okumiyama passage. All right. This little guy comes out swinging with his main mechanic of just really flopping around on the ground and creating pools of corrupted fields. Unfortunately for him, I'm obsessed with archers in this game and baited out all of his attacks away from them to do max damage. Take him out, archers, please. That was so much easier than the last boss. So much easier. Another day, another mission, and this is where I felt like the difficulty really started to ramp up. I now have to deal with 3 different routes. I experienced my first death, which was unfortunate. I died! And they've started to throw every big monster at me nearly all at the same time. I would bet I'm probably at the halfway mark of the game, and I still don't really understand a good balance between having 12 archers or having a good mix of things so I don't have to worry about certain lanes, but I guess I'll work that out later on. Moegi Ridge is purified. And a new milestone. Batsu is next on our thief list to destroy, and I believe he's the very first boss from the tutorial. Regardless, he's hyper aggro, and I managed to do his mechanics by a complete fluke. Honestly though, all he really does is he jumps around, he creates a Torii gate to summon thief aimed at Yoshiro, and then he does a flame attack. Outside of the initial 60% nuke he did to Yoshiro, this fight was a complete joke. Easy game. Woo. That was scary for like a second. Defeated Batsu. Sorry if I ruined the cutscene. After this fight though, I was able to upgrade Soh's abilities, which I wasn't quite sure what that meant since I only really had 2 combat abilities until I saw this. I can use a bow? One of the coolest levels in this game, but also seemingly one of the easiest. I was having a lot of anxiety on the initial prep stage, thinking that some of the defilements were only accessible on the boats, and just not knowing the mechanics of what's to come. I don't really get the mechanics of this level yet. Once the prep stage was complete, I was put on 5 rinky-dink boats that were glued together, and then I had the thief coming at us by boat and by air. I legit found this incredibly easy with the cannons they provided. It was literally one shot in the platforms that would come, and then the army of archers I had on the back. super easy. Pretty cool level. Purify, Yuminari Lake. Adashino Village has us back to your standard broadcasting schedule, 2 areas with a horde of thief coming to take Yoshiro away. We did get introduced to a new drum that can dispel any enchants that the thief receive from their support demon guy, but nothing really else to note here. Purify Adashino Village. My Japanese is getting better. Alright, we have the burial grounds, which sounds really safe. There is no villagers here. Entering this next level, the first thing I noticed is that there are 0 villagers to save, so I prepare for such. I honestly went into this thinking that it would be so much more fun than the usual level because I don't have to manage the villager placements and the different routes, but boy was I wrong. I also did 0 objectives, so that also wasn't very fun either. Okay, purifying Muenzuka burial grounds. It felt like a while since I had my last boss fight, and with no villagers in the previous level, I assumed this was probably going to be a 1 versus 1. And as far as bosses go, this is one of the easier ones. I think I played it a little too safe, but I was 1 second from getting my objective done, which is just sad. Oh, that's a big sword? Oh, okay. That was very easy. Can we get some DPS? Defeat Bupposo. I don't know. Renge Marsh is one of the levels I'll remember from this game, but not very fondly. They bait you into giving you riflemen, and they're absolutely bait. They're slow, but they do a lot of damage, but they don't tell you how slow they are. They are extremely slow, and with no upgrades, honestly, they're just not very worth it at all. I also died twice in this level just from not being properly prepared, and some of the mechanics such as stopping the Yoshiro from moving so much definitely caused me a few deaths. Renge Marsh, eat a shit. So entering this arena, it clearly looks like that this is going to be a ranged battle, especially with the rifleman I just mentioned, but we was baited again. I also completely forgot the part of the boss mechanic where they can summon loads of thief to go after Yoshiro. But I was only 6 seconds off completing the objective despite having my shaman die, so overall not too bad. Side note, are the shamans even that good? Okay, that'll do. Yoshiro has taken ill once again, which means as her champion, we also don't get to play the game for some reason. And so we're back to playing a very traditional tower defense game. We also get introduced to a new Torii gate mechanic of thieves spawning from different gates that are randomly powered up. This really just means that this level is just microing my villagers to protect the princess, but it is a shame about these few hits. Kamukura. The 6th to last mission had me purifying a great cherry tree. Who knew that the cherry tree was a demon with a unique pair of toes? Yo, what the hell? Yatsura has 3 phases. 1, find his tongue and nuke it down. The 2nd phase, find the tongue again and nuke it down, but it introduces you to a demon woman. And then the 3rd phase actually had me confused for a while, and it had something to do with this demon woman popping out the ground and stunning her, so that way I could actually kill the tongues for a 3rd time. Purify the Great Cherry Tree of Nakahara. And with all of that wrapped up, let's just do a quick check-in on the princess. Oh, well, that cannot be good. We have ourselves another boat level, and I was a little bit worried since the levels are obviously getting a little bit harder the later we get into the game, which it should, right? My party here consists of the usual 2 melee, just in case they board the boats, a good number of archers, 1 or 2 gunmen, and then one of the new roles, a cannoneer. Now this level is very generous with the cannons that they provide. Not only was this level easy, but I also somehow did every single objective, but blind. Purify Korai Valley. Kiritake village is a little bit more on the harder side of things, but only due to the movement of your Shiro. Kiritake village. In this level I noticed that a Kago Kaburi randomly appeared out of one of the torii gates. So I did everything I could to chase him down and kill the guy. And if you've played like a Diablo or a Path of Exile, this essentially is just like a loot goblin where he runs around the map dropping crystals, just kill him as fast as possible, and you normally get like a big reward. I assume this is one of the last bosses in the game, and I was really racking my brain as to what on earth this new mechanic could be. So I went with my usual build, archers, lots of gunmen, and then now 2 cannoneers, just in case he decides to get funny and send a horde of Thief at me. I've been stunned. Now this is one of the cooler fights in the game by far, and I'm pretty sure if my villagers didn't one-shot him here, my whole team was probably cooked. Oh, I killed him. Whoa. Jeez. My worst fears have come true, and we have a whole level dedicated to fighting in the dark and having to light some lanterns around the level. But the game very smartly decides to introduce a new thief that runs in and extinguishes the lights that we are creating, so we just have another thing to manage. Narusawa Wind Caves. The last official level of the game was a tough one. They even sent out the Attack on Titan looking demon things 3 at the same time, so it was just a lot to manage. And if I'm completely honest, I had to restart I think the last night 4 times before I finally finished the level. But I did it. That's crazy. Anyway. That was so hard. On to the second to last boss, Yatsu. And he's an absolute menace. This is our first spider boss of the game, which I knew that was gonna come, but it's interesting as to how late it is, and now I see why. Our spider friend loves to run around this maze of a map, summon torii gates with some of the most powerful thieves, and then also flies into the sky just to jump down on me and destroy me and the villagers. Not only did I wipe on this guy, but I also had my own character, the main character, die 3 times within a single fight just because of how much damage he was actually doing to me. But at least now I can pronounce his name. Okay, wait. Yatsukahagi. I unlocked the ability to equip 5 talismans, which are essentially just perks such as increased health, do more damage, etc. And I just completed this stage for the trophy. So I finally made it to the end of the game. I've come all the way down the mountain. I've collected every mask. I have uncorrupted every villager I could find. And in true PS2 era fashion, which this is what the game reminds me of, what better way to end the game than a boss rush? And for the most part, I wasn't really worried about any of the bosses except... But this time, I have a secret up my sleeve. Let's go. Let's go! Purify the Great Shrine. And now it's time for the showdown. For all of the Torii gates that have been possessed, meet Nanamagari, which is such a mouthful. I should have learnt my lesson that the sorcerer sounds OP because it is overpowered. Trust me, it is so overpowered. You just need to believe in the summon. And I'll be honest, this guy caused me a lot of trouble, and being the last boss in the game, I'm so thankful for that, I am. But basically, he's picked up every ability from all the bosses that came before him. With a few helpful upgrades such as assembling the villagers all at once and moving them away from his massive attacks, they're able to come in, nuke him at the right time, and then run away, which was really my key to success for the first phase at least.
We're on an all-out nuke. No second phase. No second phase. Please, I beg. This looks like a second phase to me.
So, yep, there is a phase 2, and all of my villagers are now dead, so now it's a 1 versus 1. And my build is very optimized to having my villagers deal the majority of my damage, so this isn't going to work out for me whatsoever. And with dying over and over and over again, I decided to change my build and focus primarily on a 1v1 basis. And this is like one of the best tips that you can get in this game. If you're struggling on a boss and you have to like continue over and over again, it gives you the option to change your equipment, so you can change your perks, you can change your ultimate abilities, and it is so helpful. The problem is though that I didn't identify this early enough that this guy is completely range, and as soon as you get close to him to do enough attack, he either disappears or he creates this massive orb that deals like 70% of my health. So my strategy was to simply run in, get a hit or two off, run away from the orb, and then wait for my special attack to be ready. It is such a boring fight to do it this way. This is the only way I really identified how to kill him, but it worked.
Cleanest.
I'm her? Yay, that was fun. Okay. Becoming the Spirit Stone Maiden. With the last boss dead, I'm now in the post game, and I figured it's time to clean up a few things before I move into New Game Plus and close this playthrough off, which is a requirement for the Platinum Trophy. I found 2 cats that are fairly close together in one of the camps. I just ran between them to greet 20 animals within bases.
Compassion for living things.
This is the grindiest part of the Platinum Trophy, and I'm having to reclear old missions for the side objectives in order to get the upgrades needed for villagers and Soh herself. In between this, I'm going back to the old villages that need repairing and assigning the villagers to do that, and it usually takes a level or 2 in order for them to complete the repairs. You get a reward from doing this, and some of those rewards are sweet. During my backtrack, I accidentally made one of my villagers a priest, which happened to be the last role I needed to assign for this trophy.
Oh. That was the last one. Employment agency.
As for the boss side objectives, a lot of these are just for killing it within a minute and a half to 2 minutes to 3 minutes, maybe even 4 minutes. But on the 6th boss, Yatsukahagi, and in my opinion the hardest one, I had an original clear time of 6 minutes, which was, let's be real chat, it's not great. So since I'm going back through every single one, I got all of them within a minute. After killing this one, I managed to get them all within under 20 minutes for this trophy.
Whoa! Finished all boss fights up to the Great Shrine Passage within a total of 20 minutes.
So we're going to backtrack a little bit. During the day cycle, or what I would call like the preparation phase, you're going to like uncorrupt the villages, you create the pathway for your Shira to go down towards the Torii gate, but you're also going to see like wild animals running around that are corrupted. If you hit them with your bow or you manage to hit them with your sword, they'll drop a ration or 2. So just doing this 20 times actually... Sorry, did I just say 20? I meant 200.
Let's go! Purge 200 animals!
Earlier in the video, I mentioned one of the missions introduced a new type of thief, which is like the big bomb looking thing. If it explodes on you, it is gonna like cause some damage on your villagers, but also create like a toxic pool on the floor. But if you manage to kill him quicker, it will turn blue and it will lay on its back in order for you to like hit him, and it will fly off into its own sieve if you manage to like position it that way. If you do this, you can actually kill them, and then there's another trophy called Family Dysfunction for just doing this. At this point, I'm ramping up for the speedrun of the last boss and then preparing for the dreaded New Game Plus, just due to not knowing how much of a difficulty spike it's actually going to be. Like, I've played Dark Souls, I've played Bloodborne, those are quite significant in difficulty increases, but with this random Capcom game, no idea. So with some of Soh's upgrades, I get access to a third ultimate ability, which is incredibly helpful, and finishing a single level with this unlocks another trophy. My next trophy is an absolute freebie. Anything you do in this game consumes the crystals that you receive from purifying the corruption on each level or revisiting the tents. And one of the quickest ways, air quoting by the way, to spend those crystals is to jump to one of those levels where you have to rescue your Shiro from the Banshee thing, each time costing about 2,000 crystals. And after that, I have completed every single side objective and unlocked every single black chest that contained any ability upgrades on New Game. So I decided before moving into New Game Plus, I wanted to make sure that Soh was fully upgraded. And so next up is this. Yes. Oh, another trophy. Repeating history. Ladies and gentlemen, our next objective: complete every single level again, but with the 2 new objectives that have reappeared on New Game Plus modes. We have to do every single level in order to get enough upgrade points to upgrade every single villager role. So I will see you shortly. And with that chore finished, I now have enough to finish up all the upgrades on the last villager role. Thank God. A gathering of masters. And that leaves us with one last thing. Let's go! The little giant! That's me! The little giant! Oh, when you wish upon and Ima? The end. A defeated cursed Soh. And it's our last plaque. I think there it is. Mountain Goddess Folklore, which gives us the 100% for Kunitsu-Gami. Well, thanks for watching. Subscribe.